Hey guys, today we're exploring the work of Glenn Ligon, Draw My Lifestyle. But it's actually not a Draw My Life because we're not talking about his life, but his artwork. Scratch that, that's besides the point. Glenn Ligon is a contemporary artist who challenges how we understand identity, race, and visibility in society. Instead of using traditional images, Ligon uses text as his main visual tool, transforming words into something physical, emotional, and sometimes even difficult to read. His work focuses us to slow down and question what we are actually seeing, and more importantly, what we might be missing.
Today, I'll analyze two artworks by Glenn Ligon, an artist known for exploring themes of race, identity, and national belonging through text-based art. Both works feature the word America as a neon sign, but Ligon manipulates the presentation of the word in order to question what America represents and who it represents. In the first artwork, the word America appears twice, arranged vertically. The top word is illuminated in bright white neon light, while the bottom version appears unlit and dark, almost reflection above it. The sign is mounted on a plain white wall, and the electrical wires and power boxes are visible, hanging down from the letters. The composition is very minimalist, meaning there are very few visual elements. Because of this simplicity, our attention is drawn directly to the contrast between the two words. The most significant artistic technique in this work is the contrast between light and darkness. The glowing word at the top is clear, visible, and easy to read, while the lower version is difficult to see. This contrast can suggest the existence of two different realities of America. The illuminated word may represent the idealized image of the nation, often associated with ideas like freedom, opportunity, and equality. However, the dark version may also represent a reality that is less visible or less acknowledged, particularly the experiences of marginalized groups whose histories are often overlooked in dominant narratives. Another important element is the visible wiring. Normally, wiring in science is hidden, so that the final product can look polished and perfect. Ligon intentionally leaves the wires exposed, which reminds viewers that the glowing image is constructed and dependent on a system of electricity. Symbolically, this suggests that the idea of America is also constructed through social systems, political power, and historical narratives. The second artwork also presents the word America in neon light, but several of the letters are crossed out with bold black X marks. The neon still shines through, but the thick black mark interrupts the word and partially obscures it. This creates a strong visual tension. Neon signs are usually associated with visibility and optimism, often used in advertisements or city nightlife. In contrast, the aggressive X feels disruptive and almost like a protest. Crossing the parts of the word, Ligon appears to question whether the word America truly represents the experience of everyone equally. The X marks may also symbolize erasure, suggesting that certain histories, cultures, or identities have been excluded from the national narrative. Even though the word America is still visible, its meaning becomes unstable and contested. Both artworks explore the global issue of identity and belonging within a society that has historically marginalized certain groups. They suggest that while the concept of America is often presented as unified and inclusive, the reality can be more complicated depending on one's social or historical position. This same issue appears in the novel Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. In the novel, the protagonist, Milkman, struggles to understand his identity and his connection to his family's past. Over time, he learns that discovering his history and ancestry is essential to understanding who he is. Similarly, Ligon's artwork suggests that the meaning of America cannot be fully understood without acknowledging the experiences and histories that have often been hidden or ignored.
We'll be analyzing two artworks by Glenn Ligon, the first being Stranger in the Village number 12 and Self-Portrait number 7 being the second. Both works explore themes of race, identity, and how Black individuals are perceived in society. Through his artistic choices like text, visibility, distortion, Ligon challenges the audience to think about what it means to truly see and understand someone and their identity. First, looking at Stranger in the Village number 12, the artwork initially appears almost completely black. At first glance, it looks like a dark painted surface with little detail. But when the viewer looks a little bit closer, faint lines of text begin to appear. The words come from the essay Stranger in the Village, written by James Baldwin. In this essay, Baldwin describes his experience as a Black man visiting a small Swiss village where he was treated as a strange outsider. Ligon's choice to layer Baldwin's words in dark oil, stick on a black background, makes the text difficult to read. The writing blends into surfaces, forcing viewers to look a little closer and spend time trying to decipher what it actually says. This is a very important artistic decision that Ligon made, and by making it hard to see, he makes the audience experience a struggle for visibility. This reflects the theme of Baldwin's essay. The nearly invisible text suggests that Black voices and histories are often ignored or overlooked. The viewer must make an effort to read the work, which mirrors their effort required in society to acknowledge marginalized perspectives. The materials also contribute to the meaning of the piece. The oil stick creates thick, smudged layers that build up on the surface. This gives the work a heavy and dense feeling for the audience. And the difficulty of reading the text slows the viewer down and encourages a more deeper reflection on the theme of identity and visibility in the work of art. The second artwork, self-portrait number 7, approaches similar ideas but uses a very different visual strategy than the number 12. Instead of text, the artwork shows the back of a bald head created through a grid of small dots. The image looks pixelated, similar to a low-resolution digital photograph. But like from far away, the dots form a clear image of a head. But when viewed up close, the image breaks apart into abstract marks. This challenges the idea that identity can easily be understood just by looking at someone.
Today I will be analyzing 2 artworks by Glenn Ligon, an artist known for using text to explore identity, race, and visibility. Both of these works use language as the main visual element. But instead of making the text clear, Ligon deliberately distorts and obscures it. Through this, he forces the viewer to question not only what they are seeing, but also what they might be missing. The first artwork is based on the line, "I am an invisible man." Physically, the piece appears as a large canvas filled with repeated black text on a white background. At the top, the words are clearer and readable. However, as the text repeats downward, it becomes more blurred, smudged, and eventually almost completely illegible. By the bottom, the words dissolve into dark, chaotic surface. One of the most important techniques Ligon uses is repetition, combined with degradation. He repeats the same sentence over and over using oil stick, but each time it becomes messier and harder to read. This creates a fading effect, almost like the text is disappearing in front of us. This is important because it visually represents invisibility. The words talk about unseen, and the artwork literally makes the text harder to see, so the form and meaning are directly connected. This idea connects to this novel of Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. In the novel, Milkman struggles to understand his identity and his place in the world. At the beginning, he's disconnected from his history and cannot fully see himself clearly. Milkman's sense of identity is unclear and incomplete. As the story progresses, Milkman uncovers his family history. The second artwork uses text but in a different way. Again, we see repeated lines of text, but this time the words are even more highly distorted. The letters are smudged, layered, and overworked, to the point where they are extremely difficult to read. Physically, the surface feels darker and more dense than the first piece. Instead of gradually fading, the text feels almost overwhelmed by the material. The main technique here is overworking the text. Ligon applies so much oil stick that the words lose their clarity. This creates tension between language and meaning. The words exist, but we cannot fully access them. This suggests that language itself can fail to communicate identity.
I'll be analyzing 2 artworks by Glenn Ligon, King of Kings and Negro Sunshine. Ligon is known for exploring race, identity, and history in the United States, especially how Black identity has been shaped by culture and power. In King of Kings, Ligon presents a red can of royal crown hairdressing floating above a small sculptural object that resembles a crown figure or totem. This project has historically been marketed toward Black consumers and is connected to Black hair care and grooming practices. By placing a commercial hair product in an art setting, Ligon transforms something ordinary into a symbol of cultural identity and history. The bright red packaging immediately attracts attention and almost looks like an advertisement, which highlights the influence of consumer culture. In contrast, the gray figure below is muted, abstract, and harder to interpret, making it feel less visible even though it may represent a personal identity. The title King of Kings suggests royalty, power, and dignity, but the image complicates that message. Hair products like pomade were sometimes used to style hair according to dominant beauty standards, particularly those influenced by white society. Because of this, the product can represent both pride in Black culture and pressure to conform at the same time. The crown figure underneath does not look traditionally powerful. Instead, it appears mechanical, fragmented, or mask-like. This may suggest that identity is being shaped by outside forces such as advertising, racism, or social expectations rather than personal choice. The physical separation between the product and the figure could also symbolize the gap between representation and reality. The product promises control, polish, and an ideal appearance, while the abstract figure below feels uncertain and incomplete. Ligon may be suggesting that commercial images simplify identity in ways that do not reflect real human experience. In contrast, Negro Sunshine uses neon light to display a short phrase glowing against a dark background. Neon signs are typically associated with nightlife, entertainment, and advertising, so they are designed to attract attention and create a positive feeling. However, the phrase itself is deeply uncomfortable because the word Negro is outdated and tied to a history of segregation and discrimination in the United States. Pairing this term with the cheerful word sunshine creates a disturbing contradiction. The phrase may sound pleasant at first, but historical context makes it feel ironic and unsettling. Together, these 2 artworks show how identity can be shaped by both consumer culture and language. King of Kings focuses on physical appearance and beauty standards, while Negro Sunshine examines the power of words and historical labels. Ligon uses simple imagery to communicate complex ideas, encouraging viewers to look beyond the surface and question the systems that shape representation. Ultimately, his work shows that what we see every day, products, images, and language, can carry deeper meanings about history, power, and identity.